everyone. Today's practice is going to be focusing on exercises that we can do to help out our low back, which might not necessarily involve stretching out the back. So if we're ready, we'll find any type of easy seat that we need, and as always, we can adjust and readjust until we found something comfortable. If today is a day that being cross-legged doesn't work for us, we don't do it. So if we're ready, we'll let our hands rest however we want them to rest, and it might feel comfortable to let our eyes close. Now, if we can, we'll take a moment to notice where we're connecting down to the ground. And particularly, can we notice where our sit bones are? So those are our two spots on either side of our pelvis. And those are the spots that are closest connecting to the ground. Is it possible to press them straight down? And maybe as we do so, we get a little taller through the back. But then maybe we notice our shoulders. Did we find that our shoulders started to rise up to the ears in response? And if it's possible, we're going to relax them away from the ears. We might even take a deep breath in. And on that exhale, those shoulders relax away just a little more. And then maybe we take a few moments to notice our breath. So maybe we take a moment to notice our inhale. And notice the exhale. So again, maybe this is all we do. Just noticing our breath. As always, the things I suggest are exactly that. They are pure suggestion. If it works for us, we might imagine our breath traveling. So if we can, we might imagine that our inhale can travel up our back and maybe to the center of our head, or maybe even through the top of our head. And the exhale can travel down the back, maybe into the hips, maybe into the floor. And we might repeat this when we are ready. Maybe our next inhale, we imagine it travels up the back and through the head. And the exhale travels down the back and into the floor. So again, repeating that if we can. Maybe our inhale, as it travels up the back, it reminds us to get tall through our back. The exhale reminds us to press those sit bones straight down. Again, the inhale travels up and we get tall. And the exhale travels down and we press our sit bones down. And can we repeat this now? Just a deep breath in. And that exhale travels down. So we're going to give ourselves a few more breaths here if we can. Again, that deep breathing, which studies have shown can help out the back. And something as simple as pressing our sit bones down helps activate some of our deeper core muscles to help us be tall. Maybe we can give this 3 more breaths. Now, if we can, we'll bring our hands together at the heart, and we'll pause to set that positive intention. So again, can we think of a positive trait, something like strength or resilience or patience, whatever it is that we want to focus on today. And then we can take in the inhale that we need, and the exhale could rest our hands against our legs. And always mindful the eyes could stay closed for as long or as little as we need. And if we would like, we'll come straight into our tabletop position. So we're welcome to roll over our shins or swing the legs around, however we want to get there. Now, if it works for us, we'll start with those cat-cow movements. So maybe we can drop our belly down, maybe let our tailbone lift up. And then we'll round our back. Maybe that tailbone can tuck under. And we'll just repeat this movement now. So we could drop the belly down, and we can round the back. We can just repeat this movement as it feels right. And if we can, I invite you to let your breathing sync up with this movement. As always, that's our choice. Do we want to inhale for one particular pose and then exhale for the other one? So it doesn't really matter which pose we're inhaling for and which pose we're exhaling for. We're just trying to link up breath with movement right now. That's our moving meditation. And we might even find, depending on what breath goes with which movement, maybe we find a little extra stretch on the inhale, maybe a little activation on the exhale, that little press of the belly towards the spine. Again, make that time your own. We're just going to do a few more like this. Maybe one more. Now, if we can, we'll eventually come back to a more neutral spine, ending on whatever pose we want to end on today. As always, we can give ourselves a moment for the wrists. We could shake them out, roll them out, stretch them out, whatever we need today. So we're going to play with our balancing table, which does help with our back health. We're going to add in some movement, but again, make that time your own and only do the movement that works for us today. So finding balancing table first, we might start by taking our left leg and letting that left leg extend out, and the toes might stay on the ground, or the foot might lift off the ground. We're going to try our best to let our hips stay level. Notice if that left hip hiked up a little bit, and we're going to bring it back down. Nice straight line from left hip to right. Now, if we're ready, that right arm, maybe we are light on the right fingers. Maybe the hand is out with the hand on the mat, or maybe the arm lifts off the mat. Again, make that time your own. We're only going to our level, nobody else's. We're going to try our best to press that belly towards the spine, activate that core. Nice straight line from fingertips, if our hand is up, all the way to the shoulder, all the way to the hips, all the way to the leg, if the leg is lifted. We're going to give that one more breath in, one more breath out, and then we're going to bring it back down, hand and knee. And we might need a moment. Again, we might need to shake out that left hand, shake out the right hand. We're trying it on the opposite side when we're ready. So we could extend that left leg and maybe the toes are down, or maybe the leg lifts up. Maybe we're light on that left hand, or we extended the arm with the fingertips still on the ground, or maybe the arm lifts. Again, we're giving ourselves a moment here. We're trying our best to think nice straight line. So that left hip, that right hip is level with the left hip. Got that straight line going from the fingertips to the shoulders, shoulders to the hips, hips to the leg. We're going to try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. One more breath. And then everything can come down. And we'll take a moment. We might, again, shake things out a little bit. If we need to take a break for the wrists, we take a break for the wrists. Now we'll add in movement. Again, make this time your own. And if at any point we need to bring our hands down or the leg down, we can. Now, if we're ready, we'll start with that balancing table on our left side. We'll kick that left leg out. If it felt good to bring that right arm out, we can bring that opposite arm out. Now, what we'll do next is we'll take our elbow and knee and we'll bring them into center as if they're trying to meet underneath the belly, maybe a little rounding of the back. We'll extend them out, but we're going to pause here if we can. Straight arm, straight leg if possible. And then keeping both the arm and leg straight, we're going to tap our fingers and toes to the ground. And then come back up. Now, if we can, we're doing this 3 more times. So we'll bring elbow and knee in. We'll extend back out. We'll tap down. We'll come back up 1 more time, or 2 more times. We're going to bring that elbow and knee in. We'll extend out. We'll tap down. We'll come up 1 last time. Bringing the elbow and knee in. We'll extend out. We'll tap down. We'll come back up. Can we pause for this one? 1 last balancing table. Press that belly in. And then everything can come down, hand and knee. We might need to shake things out again. Give yourself as much of a break between sets as we need to. Now, when we are ready, we try it on the opposite side. We could take that right leg and let it extend out. Maybe we're light on the left hand. Maybe left arm reaches out. Pausing here if we can. Now, if we're ready, we're going to try that flow on this side. Elbow and knee can meet in the middle, maybe a little rounding in the back. We extend out, and if we have our balance, we'll tap toes and fingers down, and then come back up. 3 more times now, if we can. We'll bring elbow and knee in. We'll extend back out. We'll tap down, and we'll come back up. We'll bring elbow and knee in. We'll extend back out. We'll tap down. We'll come up. 1 more time now. Elbow and knee comes in. We extend out. We tap down. And back up. 1 last balancing table. Can we hold this? This is strengthening some really important muscles for our back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out, and then everything comes down, hands and knee. Again, we might need to shake things out. We might need to roll out the wrists. We're also welcome to do a little extra cat-cow movement, especially if we feel like our back got a little tender there. If we're ready, we'll find the child's pose of our choosing. So we're welcome to adjust and readjust. Maybe knees are together, maybe knees are apart, and we'll shift back, and maybe back and down. Now make this time your own. As always, the things I suggest are pure suggestion. Today might be a day that it just feels good to inchworm our fingers forward while anchoring our hips down on the ground. Maybe we create a little traction in our back. Another option is to roll our hands onto the pinky edges of our hands. We are welcome to continue to rotate them if we would like, but at a certain point we stop affecting the back when we rotate our hands like that, and we get more of a forearm stretch, which is neither better nor worse. It's just different. It's no longer focusing on the back. So whatever we found, we'll try our best to breathe in. We'll try our best to breathe out. Now if we're ready, we'll find our way into our first down dog. We can come back up, readjust the knees, readjust the hands. We're trying our best to let our fingers spread wide. We'll curl the toes as the hips shift back and up, making that upside down letter V. As always, if this isn't working for us today, we have the option of dolphin. Just we come down onto the forearms and come back and up. Again, make that time your own. As always, the wrists will let us know exactly what we should be doing and what we should be avoiding. So whatever we found here, it might just feel good to pedal out the heels. Maybe it feels good to bend and straighten the legs. One thing we can do is we can play with softening the knees and thinking of that tailbone tilting up towards the ceiling, kind of like we did in our cow pose, still pressing that belly to the spine, though, let those rib cage knit in. We don't want to lose the core just by tilting the pelvis forward. Again, we'll make this time our own. As always in this class, vinyasa just means to place in a special way. That means there is no mandatory movement. If we like our conventional vinyasa flow, we're welcome to roll to plank pose. Maybe knees are up, maybe knees have come down. We're going to lower with control. Those elbows are not winging out and then winging back in. We're going to find our way into a back bend. Maybe there's no pressure in the hands. Maybe it feels good to put pressure in the hands. And we're going to press that belly to the spine so much that it lifted up our hips and we came back to down dog. Now if we can, we're giving this a full breath in and a full breath out. And then we'll find our way into our first forward fold. Now we are welcome to walk our feet in or walk the hands towards the feet. Again, we're going to make this time our own. Give yourself a moment here, and we might find today we're really keeping a nice bend in the knees, keeping that low back nice and neutral. So especially if we have low back pain, the last thing we want to do is lock out the knees and let our back hang. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the low back. We keep the knees bent. We might even think tilting the tailbone to the ceiling like we did with down dog. And once we're here, we might just take a moment and shake out the head. Maybe a little head nod, and that's just our reminder to relax the neck. We're giving ourselves a moment of surrender, even if it is literally one moment. Maybe this can get another deep breath in. And deep breath out. Now, if we are ready, we'll come up to stand. We're going to press through our feet. We'll let our arms reach up and overhead. And eventually, we'll let our hands come back at the heart. Now, if we can, we'll pause. And if we can, we'll notice our heartbeat. And we'll notice what happens with that heartbeat as we take a full breath in. And a full breath out. Now, if we can, we're finding our way into chair pose. So we can relax the arms. We're going to look down. We're going to try our best to get our toes to point straight ahead like we're on a set of skis. Hips width distance, feet together. It's up to us. And as we shift back and down like we're in that invisible chair, we're trying our best to let the knees point in the same direction as those toes. And today might be a day that we're thinking about shifting our weight as much as we can towards the back. So again, we're trying to think our hips are trying to travel to the back of the room. We might press our belly towards the spine. So again, taking a moment here, strong glute muscles is the foundation of almost all of our body health, but especially our low back health. So we want to keep ourselves finding strong glutes. So that means we hold our chair pose. We're going to try our best to breathe in. We're going to try our best to breathe out. One more full breath. Now if we're ready, we'll find our forward fold. We're welcome to readjust the feet and come down. And it's any forward fold we need here. So we might find we're keeping our knees bent. We're just letting our low back relax. Maybe the gravity is creating a gentle tractioning as we find this bent knee forward fold. Another option is to hold on to our elbows. Some people like to add in a little sway side to side, but mindful that for some people their inner ear will not agree with this, and that's okay. We don't do that movement then. So whatever we need here, we're going to try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. Full inhale. Full exhale. One more breath. Now if we can, we'll relax the arms. We'll come up to stand. We'll press through our feet. We can let our arms reach up and overhead. Eventually, we'll let our hands come back towards the heart. And again, we'll pause. Can we notice our heartbeat? What happens to that heartbeat as we breathe in? As we breathe out. So we'll do a little play with our balance before we find our way into high lunge. So we can always walk closer to the top of our mat. And if we're ready, we'll put weight into our left foot. We're going to press that left foot down, soft knees if we can practice that. And we'll lift up our right knee. Now the toes might stay down, the foot might lift up, but what we might do today is notice, can I keep my hips level? So that right hip is neither hiked up on me, nor is it dropped down below my opposite hip. I've got this nice straight line, left hip to right hip. Now it might feel good to roll out the ankle, we don't have to. If we need help with our balance, we are always welcome to hold on to a wall or stable furniture. Now when we're ready, we find our high lunge. We're going to step that back foot back. We're going to let the heels stay up. If we're feeling stable, arms will reach up. And we'll give ourselves a few moments here to really focus on our hip flexor, that right hip flexor. We're going to try our best to let our hips stay square to the front of the room. Now noticing if we tend to open out through the hips, that might mean we need to readjust. Maybe that back knee or leg needs to come in a little bit. And then what we might do is we might bend that back knee just a little bit. We'll bring our hands onto our hips. Now we can think of our hips like a bowl. And we're just going to tilt that bowl backwards. But first I want you to firm up through the core. Press that belly towards the spine. And then gently tilt those hips back as if we've just poured water onto the back of our mat. We can also think tailbone did a little tucking under like a scared dog. Notice how that feels. We're going to try our best to breathe in. We're going to try our best to breathe out. Now we can somewhat release this, but I still want you to be pressing that belly towards the spine. We're going to relax the hips a little bit. We'll let that front back leg straighten out, and we'll let our arms reach up. We're going to give this a few breaths. Lunge is one of those amazing poses where we're stretching the hip on one side, which helps out our low back. We're strengthening the glutes on the opposite side, also helping out our low back. Now if we'd like, we might add in a twist, and that looks different on everybody. We're welcome to bring our hands to our heart. We could take a deep breath in. On the exhale, we're twisting towards that bent knee, and we're welcome to stay upright. We don't have to lean forward. If we want to, we're welcome to lean forward, and maybe the elbow or the upper arm finds the thigh. Another option is to place the forearm on the thigh instead. Another option is to hold on to the thigh instead. So again, make this pose your own. It looks different on everybody. Now we might find we're looking downwards. That's going to help our balance the most. We are welcome to look towards the wall. We're welcome to look up at the ceiling, but the more we turn the head, the harder it's going to be for the inner ear. But we're just going to try our best to think long back. Nice and tall through the spine. Maybe a little twist, maybe not. Deep breath in if we can. Deep breath out. Now if we can, we're going to slowly unwind. Maybe those arms reach up again, maybe not. We're going to pause here if that's possible. And then we'll find our way into a pyramid pose. So we can relax the arms. We have the option of keeping that front knee bent, but we're also welcome to straighten it out as long as we don't lock out the knee. We'll take our back foot in until we can bring the heel straight down. So we might look behind us. If we brought our heel down and we found it pivoted in, we might need to bring that foot in just a little bit more because we want to get that outside calf muscle area. That also contributes to back health. So with our feet facing straight ahead, like we're on a set of cross-country skis now, we're going to find our way into pyramid pose. So I personally like to start with my hands on my thigh. I'm going to think of my hips like that bowl again, only now I'm going to tilt that bowl forward. So I'm not even worried about how far my chest is going to come down. I'm just thinking about that bowl tilting forward. I might even keep my hands on my thighs. I might even put a small bend in that front knee if there isn't one already, and just have my hands lightly press into the thighs, let that low back relax. It might even create that natural curve inwards that the low back creates. This might be my pyramid pose. If we prefer more of a conventional pyramid pose where we walk down, maybe the hands are on the shins. If we have blocks, we're welcome to use yoga blocks. If we don't have blocks, we're welcome to stack a few thick and hopefully not too slippery books. We can also get closer to furniture and hold on to the furniture. Again, make this your own. We kind of have to get innovative during our home practices, but these are definitely innovative times. So it's whatever we need right here. And again, if we're in a conventional pyramid pose and we're looking for more to explore, we can still think about that tailbone lifting up to the ceiling as those hips have tilted forward. But again, checking in. If the stretch is so much that we can't breathe, that means the stretch is so much we're locking up our muscles. We want to ease back. We're giving this a few extra breaths if we can. Stretching out the hamstrings also helps with back health. And do our best to breathe in. Do our best to breathe out. One more breath. Now if we can, we're going to press through those feet to come all the way back up. Now we might shrug out the shoulders a little bit. We're eventually finding our way back into our downward facing dog. I want you to get there in the way that works best for you. Some people might prefer to take their back foot, step it back a little bit, then bring the hands down onto the mat, press through the hands to step that front foot back. But again, what do we need? How do we want to come into it? And then likewise, we add in the movement of our choosing. Again, vinyasa just means to place in a special way. If we like our conventional flow, we could come to plank pose. And we want to think straight line, whether it's our shoulders to heels or shoulders to knees. Either way, we've created that straight line. It never bowed inwards. And when we find our back bend, we're not trying to crunch up the low back, nice and gentle. And we want to think, press through that belly so much it lifted us up, maybe to table pose. And then we curl the toes. Again, that's the safest for the low back. Curling the toes first and then using the legs like levers is really tough on the low back. So whatever we found, we'll try our best to breathe in. We'll try our best to breathe out. And then if we are ready, we're coming back to our forward fold. So just get there however we need to. We could walk the feet in, walk the hands to the feet. And we'll find our halfway lift. Now, especially when we're dealing with our back, we want to think torso went parallel to the ground and the hands follow suit. So we might find our hands are actually a little higher than they usually are when we focus more on the back. And on the exhale, we'll relax it back down. On the inhale, we're coming all the way up and those arms can reach. And on the exhale, hands can find the heart. And we pause. We take that breath in. And breath out. Now we try it on the other side. So nice and methodical for that play with balance so we can get closer towards the front of the mat. We're going to put weight into our right leg now. Again, we want to practice soft knees if possible, pressing that right foot as the left knee lifts and then noticing, did that left hip hike up? Is the left hip dropping down and that right hip kind of jutting out to the side? Can we bring them back to this nice straight line? It's parallel with the floor, straight line from left hip to right hip. Now maybe it feels good to roll out the ankle, maybe not. And we're just giving this a few moments here. Now we'll find our high lunge. We can step back, we'll let the heel stay up if possible. We'll give ourselves a moment with our high lunge, maybe the arms even reach up for a moment if that feels good. And then we'll take a moment to find that hip stretch. We'll bring our hands back to our hips. We're gonna bend that back knee. Again, we wanna think our hips are a bowl. We're just gonna tilt that bowl backwards. I'm gonna press through my belly. I'm gonna slowly tilt back, thinking tailbone did a little tucking under, but really we want to think of this movement happening through the core. It's not just, oh, I made my back tilt my torso or tilt my pelvis down. It is, I activated through the core and through my abdomen. I did that little tilt. And nothing crazy here. We still need those hip flexor muscles to work for us. They are the reason we're able to walk or go upstairs, so we don't want to overdo it on the stretch. Now, if we're ready, we can relax the hips, still press that belly to the spine. Maybe we've straightened out our back leg, and then maybe we reach our arms up. Again, giving ourselves a moment here. And try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. Now, if we're ready, we'll find that twist. We can bring our hands to our heart. We'll take a deep breath in. On the exhale, we're twisting towards that bent knee. Now, we're welcome to stay upright. We're welcome to tilt forward. If we've tilted forward, it could be the forearm or the upper arm or the elbow that's on the thigh. It could be the forearm that's on the thigh instead. It could be hands at the heart and we stay tall. It could also be hands on the leg. Notice which is the right twist for you. And if there's a version of this twist I didn't mention yet, but we know it feels good, come into it. This is your time. If you know what works for you in your practice, you should give yourself full permission to do that. Now, if we are ready, we're trying our best to breathe in. We're trying our best to breathe out. Again, can we find that one spot to focus on? That's going to help out our balance. Deep breath in if we can. Deep breath out. One more breath. Now, if we can, we're going to unwind. Coming back up. One last high lunge. And then we'll find our way to pyramid. We can relax the arms. We have the option of straighten the leg without locking it out. Back leg is coming in, but we're going to make sure that heel can come straight down. Notice if it pivots inwards. We're going to try our best to get them straight ahead. We might even just give ourselves a moment to kind of get acclimated to that. We really want to help out that outside calf muscle stretch. Now again, we're going to try our best to think hips are square. They're going to try to open up for some of us. But if we can square off the hips, that means we're going to focus on our main hamstring muscle. Now again, we might like to start with our hands on our thighs. And we're going to think about our hips like that bowl again, only now the hips tilt forward. Now again, I'm not worried about what's happening with my torso just yet, or how low I can get it, or where my hands can reach. My focus is on that tilt in the hips. Maybe I'm thinking about my tailbone lifting to the ceiling. Again, I might like the version where I press my hands into the thighs. I keep that low back relaxed. Forward folds like this can be tough on the low back because for some of us, we have to then essentially hunch forward. That can tug at the back in ways we don't want it to tug at the back. If we tend to have herniated, or if we had or have had a herniated disc, that's really not a movement through the spine we want to do. But again, what do you personally need? If it's constructive for us to lower down, we can lower down. Hands might be on the shins. Hands might be on those props, whatever the prop might be. And so just like our halfway lift, we really want to think, my torso did the movement, and my hands just follow suit. We want to be careful in thinking, I must touch my toes, I must touch the block, I must touch my shin, because then we are leading with the arms and hoping the back can follow suit, and that can get us into a kind of a dicey situation, especially if we're dealing with a tender back. Now if we can, we're trying our best to breathe in, trying our best to breathe out. We are giving this a good number of deep breaths. Maybe listening to my explanation of things can help us pass the time with this pose, maybe not. So whatever we found here, we're trying our best to breathe in, trying our best to breathe out. One more breath. Now we can press through the feet. We'll bring ourselves back up. And again, we're going to come to our downward facing dog in whatever way we need to. Maybe we liked that stepping back approach. A different approach is to actually step forward, clear the mat, plant the hands down, and then step back. But again, make that time your own. How do we personally want to come back to down dog? And we might add in the vinyasa flow of our choosing. So it does not have to be that lowering and back bending. Make this time your own. If we like that coming to plank, maybe knees have come down, that reduces load on the shoulders. We could lower, we could back bend. And again, we want to think lift through the core. We might even lift through the core, press to the tops of our feet and come to a pointed plank. Then let our knees come down, curl the toes, and then come back. Whatever we need here, we're going to try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. One more breath. Now if we're ready, we'll find our way back to child's pose. So if we're ready, knees can come down, we can shift back and down. Now again, this is our time in our practice. We might like to inchworm those fingers forward while keeping the hips anchored down to where they are. Just a little gentle tractioning through our back, through the arms. So our biggest back muscle, our biggest low back muscle actually connects at the shoulders, which is why if we rotate our hands until the pinkies are on the ground, sometimes that can affect what stretch we're doing for the back. And again, we are welcome to continue to rotate through those arms, but after a certain point, we're not affecting that back muscle anymore. We're just getting a forearm stretch. Now we try our best to breathe in and try our best to breathe out. Now if we are ready, we'll meet in a seated position and we're welcome to come up. We're welcome to let our legs swing around if that feels good. Now we can straighten out the legs, we can shake them out if that feels good. We might move our feet a little side to side. Now if we are ready, we'll find the twist of our choosing. Again, go to your level and your level alone. Where if we're ready, we'll bring in our right knee. Now I can cross over that straight leg. This is always the huge if, only if it works for us, we can bend in the opposite knee. We do that check-in every time. Knee's okay, both hips are on the ground, low back didn't lock up. If the answer was no to any of those, straighten that leg back out again, keep this twist safe. Now if we're ready, we're gonna lengthen out through the back. And if we can today, I invite you to see how much you can twist through the rib cage before you do anything with the arms. So we'll take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, we'll twist to the right, and we're going to try our best to see how long I can twist through my torso before maybe I hug my knee or the elbow came to the outside of my thigh. And make this your own, checking in with that back arm. If we like to bring it behind us like a kickstand, notice if we tend to lose the twist, if we tend to slouch in order to get that hand on the ground. If that's happening, we might do fingertips on the ground instead, or maybe we just place the hand on the back or on our hips. I'm going to try our best to breathe in here. And we're going to try our best to breathe out. So full inhale if it's possible. Full exhale. Can we give this one more breath? Now if we can, we'll come back to center and we'll twist in the opposite direction. Again, we just want to think twisting through the rib cage, and then my arms are going to do what they'd like. Maybe I like to stay upright with a hand on the leg. Maybe I plant one hand on the ground or two hands on the ground. I might even prefer to walk my hands out. Another option is take that right arm and reach it out like we want to shake somebody's hand or point out the floor. We can also do our side tilting cat where that right side of the back just rotates up towards the ceiling. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be what we need. Full breath in. Full breath out. Now if we can, we're welcome to come back to center and we'll take our right hand and let it find the ground again. That left arm can reach up and maybe it starts to reach up and overhead. Now if it feels good, we might start to walk out that right hand or put a bend in the elbow, checking in. So not only checking in with that left side of our back, checking in with the left hip, checking in with the left shoulder. If reaching up isn't feeling good for us today, we're welcome to place the hands on the ribs instead. Now we're going to try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. Now if we can, we're welcome to come back up. We can uncross our legs, and that might involve letting our weight shift back. And we might shake them out. We might move the feet. And again, I just like to do that because it gets the knees and the hips moving again. And then we'll try it on the opposite side. We can bring in our right or our left knee. We're going to cross over our right leg. Right leg might stay straight. Right leg might bend in. We do that same 3 check-ins. Knees okay, hips on the ground, didn't lock out through my low back. Now if we're ready, we're going to find length. We're going to get tall. On the exhale, we're twisting right over towards that left side. Again, I'm seeing how long I can twist through my ribs. And then maybe I hug my knee or the elbows on the thigh. Again, we're going to try our best to think tall through our back. Now, maybe those pressing of the sit bones straight down helps remind us to get a little bit taller. We're trying to activate some of our deeper core muscles, some of the more intrinsic muscles. Those are the ones that are going to help us with our posture. Those are the ones that are going to help us with our back pain if we have chronic back pain. Now, we're going to try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. Now a full inhale, even though we're twisted. Full exhale. Maybe one more full breath here. Now if we'd like, we are welcome to come back to center, and we're welcome to twist in the opposite direction. Now again, I might stay upright with this pose. I might plant 1 or 2 hands down with this pose. I might walk my hands out. I might like to reach like I want to shake someone's hand or point out the ground or do that tilting cat where I did a little side tilt through that left side of the back. And we're just trying to find stretches that feel good. It's not about what it looks like right now. It's about what it feels like. Maybe one more breath here. Now, if we are ready, we're welcome to come up, and we can take that left hand down to the ground. That right arm can reach up. Maybe we reach up and overhead. And checking in, it might feel good to walk out that right hand or that left hand. Maybe we like to bend the elbow. But again, it's not about what this arm is doing. It's about what I'm feeling here. And my hands are just following suit, just like with all those forward folds and halfway lifts we did today. Try our best to breathe in and out. Now, if we can, we're welcome to come back up. We can relax the arms down. We'll uncross our legs when we are ready. We can straighten them out. We can shake them out. We can move our feet. Now, if we would like, we are welcome to come into a forward fold. But again, checking in with the low back, we might like to do a bent knee forward fold. Maybe the legs are straight, but we're going to try our best to let our toes point up, especially if our toes tend to go out to the side. That's our body trying to avoid our major hamstring muscle. We're just going to bring them back if we can. We're going to get tall through the body. Now, we might even stay here today. If we would prefer, we're welcome to lean forward. Now, again, we want to think torso did the movement, and my hands just followed suit. I'm not worried about whether or not I can touch my toes or how far down I can get my arms. Again, that's leading with the arms and hoping the back can follow suit. That can be a little rough on the back. I know for myself, I've injured myself thinking about I want to get my hands to a certain place in this pose, and then all of a sudden a muscle in my back doesn't really agree with it. So again, we want to make sure we're moving through the torso. Hands are going to just go where they go. Now we have been here for a few breaths, and we're going to be here for a few breaths more. Is it possible to just take that deep breath in, that deep breath out? So a full inhale, a full exhale. One more breath. Now, if we can, we're welcome to come back up. We might shake everything out. We might move the legs again, and we'll come down onto our backs. So again, make this time your own. However we want to come down is up to us. And now we might hug the knees, and we might just rock a little bit side to side. Now we're just massaging out the muscles here, and some people even like to draw circles with the knees, and that's just helping to loosen up the lower back a little bit more. We are welcome to come into the twist of our choosing. So that can be any twist, and today it might even be a restorative twist. Restorative just means the props are doing the work for us. And that might just mean we've planted our feet down and we simply knocked the knees over towards the right with our hips still on the mat. And then we might place some props underneath our legs. If we have blocks, maybe that's a block underneath one leg, a block in between the knees. Maybe we have pillows, blankets, anything, couch cushions. Again, restorative just means the props are doing the work for us, but we don't have to do that kind of twist. It could be a little more twist intensive. Again, make that time your own. What feels good for us today? We're just going to try our best to breathe in. And try our best to breathe out. One more full breath. Now we are welcome to come back up to center. And we're welcome to find any twist of our choosing. So again, it might be that restorative twist with the props. Maybe we like to stagger our knees. Maybe we like to have our right or left leg straight and that right knee travel over towards the left. Arms do whatever they need to do. Do we like them out to the side like we drew the letter T? Do we like our goal post arms, which is really good for stretching out some of the muscles in our rotator cuff? It's whatever we need. We try our best to breathe in. Try our best to breathe out. One more breath if we can. Now, if it's possible, we'll come back to center and we might rock a little bit, we might move. And then I invite you to come into any additional poses that we need until we are ready to come to our Shavasana, our resting pose. So for some of us, we're just ready for resting pose, and that might look like just laying on the floor. Maybe the knees are bent, especially if our low back does not agree with straight legs. We could also straighten the legs out, or straighten the legs out and roll up a towel and put it underneath the knees. But again, we're going to make this time our own. If we have anything else we want to do before we rest, we can. I will play the singing bowls for about 2 minutes. I'm going to eventually let them fade to silence. And eventually I will ring my chimes and guide us back into an easy seat. And what we do between now and then is entirely within our power. We are welcome to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We can return movement as we would like, and that might mean a stretch through the fingers and toes. Maybe it feels good to stretch out the arms, whether it's out side to side or up and overhead. Now I invite you to add in additional movement, and that might even mean hugging the knees and rocking side to side. Eventually, we'll make our way back towards our easy seat, and we'll get there however we need to. Maybe we like to roll to one side and then slowly bring ourselves up. Eventually, we'll let our hands come together at the heart, whether it's palms together, but we can also do hands straight over the heart. And we'll seal in our practice with a moment of gratitude. And today we might ask ourselves, if gratitude were a physical sensation, what would gratitude feel like in my body? And then whatever meaning of Namaste resonates today, and perhaps today it is the strength within me recognizes the strength within you. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your practice. Namaste.